So Daniel, Shadrach, Meshach, and Abednego decided not to eat the king's food. Rich meats and such stuff was the king's food. So the reason could have been that they had been well trained in Jerusalem and they knew what is kosher food, the food that the Jews were allowed to eat and what they were not allowed to eat. So they refused the king's food because it could have been non-kosher food like food of pigs, meat of pigs, and the food would have been presented to the idols before being given to them. So Daniel did not want to defile himself with such unacceptable food. And his three friends and Daniel decided that they would not eat the king's food. So they went to the steward in charge of their diet and they said, "We will not eat the king's food nor drink the wine." And the steward said, "What will you eat then?" They said, "We want a diet of vegetables and water, a vegetarian diet." So the steward said, "You look thin and weary, and the king will have my head cut off my head for that." So Daniel said, "Try it on us for 10 days and see how we look." So the steward agreed because God had given favor to Daniel in his eyes. And so for 10 days they ate vegetarian food and didn't drink wine but drank water. After 10 days were over, they looked much fatter and more healthy than all the youth who were eating at the king's table. Therefore, we learn from this that we too should not eat idolatrous food or food offered to idols, because it is offered to idols. Like, for example, here, when my maidservant was not coming, I ordered food from a Hindu family. They brought me breakfast. But while eating the idlis, I could smell the smell of agarbatti on it, and I couldn't realize how come the idlis are smelling of agarbatti. And so I ate it anyway. And after that, I felt so weak and so terrible, which I never feel in the usual course of the day. I couldn't do anything. I just lay down, and then I realized that they must have offered the idlis to their gods, and therefore it was smelling of agarbatti, and I had bad health. And so I decided, if my maid doesn't come, I will better buy bread and butter and have it rather than order food from people who offer it to the idol. So actually, if you are a believer and you are in the light and love of God, all these foods offered to idols, they make you weak. And obviously, Daniel knew that their food offered to idols and non-kosher food would be like poison to them. So this is what I also experienced in my own life. So we should be very careful whose food we eat and what results it will have. Another time, when my neighbor was celebrating her anniversary, she brought sweet and she said, "Eat it." I said, "I'll eat it afterwards." No, she said, "Eat it in front of me." So just to satisfy her, I had a spoon or two of that sweet. And lo and behold, I felt sick, and the next morning I couldn't get up. I'm an early bird, but even at 7 o'clock in the morning, I couldn't get up. I was drowsy, which has never happened to me. So from that time I realized that I will not eat anything offered to me by the Gentiles. and it has proved good for me. So Daniel knew all these secrets, and let us also follow these secrets.